Welcome to the Mike White Podcast, where I, Mike White, share my conversations and book reviews through my journey to learn all that goes on in this amazing world. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
All right, we're back on the Mike White Podcast. I am joined by Analys Falchuk. I met Analys a few weeks ago in Austin, Texas at BitBlock Boom, which is, I think, the oldest Bitcoin conference in the country, in the world probably. And it was a great event. Met a ton of people there, and I think you were there with IBEX. And was it pretty successful?
Yeah, this is actually my second time at Big Block Boom. First time was in 2022. I didn't stay for the event, but I was there before to help set up the Bitcoin payments vendors, the vendors to accept Bitcoin payments. This year, I got the time to spend time in the conference and enjoy it as well.
Awesome. And just to let people know what exactly you do at IBEX, I know you're a program manager. Is that the right word to call it?
Yeah, product manager and business development.
Product manager, business development. And we'll definitely get into IBEX about how they're really making a big dent in the Bitcoin payment ecosystem, which traditionally it's always been a good store of value, but medium exchange wise, there's still quite a bit of work to do. But what you guys are doing at IBEX, I think, is going to make a big dent. But I wanted to start off with your Bitcoin story. So, like, how did you get into the Bitcoin ecosystem? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Venezuela, and I learned Bitcoin in Venezuela firsthand through Bitcoin mining. The story is that I used to come with my best friend to her dad car repair shop, and one day he asked us to come on to the back and help me clean the dust on these machines. And we were very innocent. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just doing this for fun, and we come and clean the dust of these machines. Um, it certainly happened that some machines were off, so that got our attention, and we come to him, and he said, "Well, we got to check them out because they are not just regular computer machines; they are Bitcoin mining machines." And that was like first time in touch I got. Then I realized that Venezuela mining Bitcoin um, was Bitcoin was more of a store of value. People were considering Bitcoin as a way to like monetize and get rid of their bolivares. So that was my first time, and then my second time in my journey was my mom started investing in Bitcoin because, of course, we didn't want to stay with bolivares. We wanted to look for alternative, and United States US dollars was the only option for the majority of Venezuelans. But my mom, I would say, she was very visionary to see that Bitcoin was the potential opportunity for financial freedom. So at home, I got educated until I joined IBEX, which I got involved with an industry, and I got involved with my day to day operating job to learn more about Bitcoin, the Lightning Network, and emerging markets.
Well, yeah, there's a lot in that story, and just starting off in Venezuela, I think is something that I think of as the what the country people think of for socialism. Like if you're comparing what a free country would be or free market compared to a socialist type economy, I think of Venezuela. But I've never actually met anyone from Venezuela, so everything I hear is secondhand. Um, I was wondering how, like, is it thought of as just normal there? Do people protest, or is it just life has always been?
Okay, so since I'm born, I have lived the hyperinflation, currency devaluation, and scarcity it was like an everyday challenge. Um, Going to the supermarket and trying to buy avocados or trying to buy meat or trying to buy cheese is an everyday challenge. Yes, it's true. People protest. Many times I was part of those protests. We call it um, healthy protests are the ones that you protest from from your home with pans and a spoon, and then literally you make a huge sound saying, "I want to be free." Um, and there's other ways that you just go outside and walk in the streets with white t-shirts and saying claiming for white is the color of freedom, of cleanness, of um, we want peace. And that was another way that we will protest. But yes, it's normal.
So how is it implemented? Is it crazy high taxes depending on how much revenue or wealth someone generates, and then do they directly distribute checks to people every month type thing if based on need?
So it depends. If you own your own business, you have kind of your own rules. If you are dependent on the government, then you get paid for what the government pays you. In this case, my parents have their own business, and but they were attacked by the government many times in terms of they were an import and export company. So the government will just keep all the imported assets or like goods of service stock, and my parents couldn't do anything. They couldn't move on their business. They have to wait for the government. For some reason they stopped everything. um so you get attacked and regulated in different ways depending on your business. Every day can change. Every day is there's not a set rules of things. Every day a new rule can come up, and that's how it was.
And I think that's not a rare occurrence in anything that's centrally planned. And one reason I love Bitcoin so much is the rules are known. Everyone knows this is the monetary policy. It's not going to change. And then that's the
Right.
only way it actually is fair if we're using the word fair and just. So it's too bad to see that. But you have those people that are industrious, that are creative, and so your friend's dad was mining Bitcoin, and most likely I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he was even taking a loss on it a little bit, but at least it is something that stores value and not the bolivar that just gets inflated away. Um, so
Yeah. And yep.
how did how did you connect the I guess also connecting it to like your family saying, "Oh, we want dollars," or people there wanting dollars. How do you like decide I'm going to save, I'm going to go I can't just you can't buy it's probably difficult to find dollars, I would imagine, and you can't get access to like Bitcoin miners. What was your thought process of how I was going to save one day?
Well, I remember my parents having issues all the time with buying dollars. So I remember they always say they have two or three ways to do this. One is going to the bank um, and buying dollars with them, but then with them could be more expensive. And then you have another way, which is like the black market to buy dollars, and that way it could be cheaper and also untraceable in a way.
Yeah.
And so I remember, yeah, so I remember my parents always trying to deal with this. Is it wasn't easy to convert bolivares to dollars.
Can you hold the dollars digitally in the bank, or when you say you go to a bank, they actually like give you paper bills?
You can hold the dollars with them. It
Okay.
depends of the
So
bank too.
so they
So I
may or
think
may not
there's
have
just
them.
one bank. Yeah, they may don't just don't have it. Yeah, they don't exactly.
Yeah. So if that's life is normal for you growing up and you're making do, what what incentivized you or made you want to leave Venezuela and study here in the United States?
Yeah. Oh, so my parents always had the vision, like I would say they always mentioned that for my future and my financial independency, my financial growth, that I would have more opportunity to achieve that if I come to United States. Um, and also education wise, they're like, you're gonna be better, uh, you're gonna get better education if you move to United States. So we had those incentives, like in education, financial growth, career growth, and stability was another incentive that I would say that gave me a lot of motivation internally for me to learn English since I'm in Venezuela. And then when I moved to United States, rapidly pursue and get into the educational and career journey. Like I didn't want to waste any time. I came here with focus and with the mindset of I'm here to become the professional that I want to be and get educated as much as possible.
And at this point, had you? I mean, you know about Bitcoin. Your family's talking about it. You've seen your friends with the miners. Have you dove down the rabbit hole yourself, or are you still just focusing on getting an education?
Um, let me see if I understood the question. You're saying if I'm now sharing Bitcoin with my family and friends, or if I'm still learning myself.
Yeah, just like when did you get the passion? Because like right now you're working for a Bitcoin company.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yes, I got the passion when I started working for IBEX and with IBEX to achieve a massive Bitcoin adoption and understanding the reason why. IBEX connected with my motivation. When I was learning about Bitcoin, it was very basic. And again, at home, we will talk about it. It's not something normal. But with iBets, I saw a vision for like why Bitcoin exists, a reason why, more than just an asset, more than just an investment. Um, and also iBets as the iBets team, some of them come from El Salvador and Guatemala. So we connected very well because we were all South Americans and suffered uh, effects when it comes to the economy.
yeah.
So yeah, so when I joined iBets, I was like, okay, this literally is synchronicity with my life because I'm very mission driven, and for any career that I want to build in my life, it has to be mission driven. And I even had different in the like career path to take. I was into the health career path, into the fashion, and then money was there, like economics was there, but I was like not connecting with something until I understood that the right way to make a change in the economic system was to be part of Bitcoin.
And that makes a lot of sense to me when you're saying a lot of the team on IBEX is either from some countries in South America, Central America, where they've seen the the money, the currency get debased, and I think those are going to be the first movers of big time Bitcoin adoption because people realize that it's a true solution. Whereas the dollar, we got the dollar privilege here in the States that, yeah, there's inflation, but 2 to 10%, it's bad enough to where people are complaining, but it's not something where you can't function necessarily for many people. Um, so that's um, I think it makes a lot of sense that you guys put two and two together. What
Yeah.
resources though? Once you hear about IBEX and they're educating you, what other type of like educational resources or voices helped you learn more about Bitcoin?
Well, of course, the fact that IBEX is a Bitcoin infrastructure company specialized in the Lightning Network enterprise solutions, I had to understand the Lightning Network. And in order to understand the Lightning Network, I had to understand the Bitcoin, the first layer of the blockchain. And in order to understand the first layer of the blockchain, I needed to understand the evolution of money and going back in history. So IBEX made us understand money from history perspective and then technical perspective on why the Lightning Network exists today, the problems that existed in the first layer of the blockchain, and then what are the use cases today for integrating Lightning Network and where is the need and why we are here to solve those needs. And of course, everything goes back to South America is where the real need exists, and that's why IBEX is successful, because we started in South America and we're still pursuing South America.
Yeah. So talking about IBEX now, I want to make sure everyone knows what exactly you guys do. So could you go more into what problem IBEX is solving for the world?
Yeah. IBEX provides Lightning as a service infrastructure for quick, scalable deployment, um, which can integrate to any fintech exchanges, wallets, remittances, to like transact, buy and sell, transact Bitcoin payments via the Lightning Network.
Yeah, and the Lightning Network, if people aren't familiar, I know not a lot of Bitcoiners maybe are the listeners to this, but uh, Bitcoin on chain can only allow, what is it, 7 transactions a second or something like that, something really low, which is good because it's secure and it's it costs a lot to put something on chain for the whole world to see it. But for a medium exchange, you don't want to be in the future if a lot of people are using Bitcoin, putting your coffee purchase on chain because maybe the fees worth more than the coffee itself. But it's not like a normal credit card where um, the fee is based on the amount paid. It's just a flat fee based on the demand of the network. Um, so I'm wondering, when you're talking to these companies, what is the big benefit right now? Because right now, uh, Bitcoin's super volatile. Why why does a company want to accept Bitcoin?
Okay. So before that, answering that question, I want to clarify that IBEX have two product lines that target different art audiences. So one product line, which is 90% of what we do, it's the infrastructure and API service that enable easy integration of Bitcoin and Lightning Network to the apps, the fintech, the exchanges. Um, what we provide for them, which is an, a big part of our service, is managing the nodes, the channels, and the liquidity, which is vital for the Lightning based applications. Um, so we take care of all of that in that side of the business. And then on the other side, we have IBEX Pay, which is the product manager of that uh, product line, and that's the payment processor for accepting Bitcoin payments via the Lightning Network for any business, e-commerce and retail. So it depends to the audience that we're talking, the benefits, right? If we talk about IBEX Pay, merchants and retailers and e-commerce businesses, well, we're using IBEX Pay to accept Bitcoin payments via the Lightning Network. They're saving money on fees. They are preventing chargebacks. They are uh, receiving Bitcoin payments instantly, right? They don't have to wait because it's via the Lightning Network. And they're reaching to a new target audience out there that are willing to test peer-to-peer transactions and adopt Bitcoin as their money for paying for their shops.
I think that last part is really big right now for if a restaurant or store accepts Bitcoin, there's so many Bitcoiners everywhere now that they would love to just use their Bitcoin just for the experience type thing. I know we here in Austin have a weekly meetup at the Meteor Cafe, and they're actually onboarded with Bitcoin. Like they have the capability to do it. Unfortunately, it's so rarely used that most employees don't know how to do it. But just the fact that Bitcoiners know that, hey, they do accept Bitcoin, we do our meetup there every week. And I think just having the infrastructure itself as Bitcoin becomes more and more common, they can spin it up like that. And what about I heard I interviewed Ben Justman, the Peony Lane wine guy. He uses your guys' product, and he
Yeah.
was saying that
Yes.
say you don't want 100% in Bitcoin. Say all you're getting paid is in Bitcoin, but you need some operating costs, so you want some fiat dollars. Does IBEX allow the user to have that ideal ratio?
Yeah. So on iBets Pay, which is the payment processor, we just partnered up with Swan, which is our fiat partner. Is our partner to convert Bitcoin to fiat, and that those fiat get deposited into the bank accounts. We have to pause for a second that feature of you can select the amount of Bitcoin that you want to go to your Bitcoin wallet, or how much you want to get in fiat. Right now, as how it works is either you get 100% in Bitcoin or 100% in fiat. We look forward adding this feature again, as we know it's being very beneficial for many businesses that want to get both. Um, it's just a quick fits that we have had for now, and it's working well. But yes, Ben is a great customer of ours, and he has set Bitcoin payments for people to buy his wine.
Yeah, and really that I think that feature will be important in the future, but right now there's
Yeah.
actually so few people. Maybe in El Salvador it's different, but here if you just accept Bitcoin, that is a great way to just stack sats and save, and you'll still have plenty for most businesses from their traditional sources of revenue to keep the lights on every month. Um, but so how do you guys onboard all these businesses, because it's uh, across the country? There's so many. What's how do you approach that?
So iBit Pay has expanded to 45 countries today. Um, so it's a global product, and we have onboarded them. We onboard them with a one-on-one meeting if they
Wow.
request a demo, and if they request a consultation on this. So they can go to our website, ibetspay.io, book a demo, and they're gonna get on a call with me.
Oh, okay.
Then once they get on a call, once they get on a call with me, I will come with a very nice and like smooth conversation, and trying to understand why they want to accept Bitcoin payments, why it matters to them, because for every business there's a different needs and different wants. So we want to understand that we're satisfying those needs as well. As iBets Pay not only has the payment processor side of things, iBetPay has its expansions includes enable Bitcoin donations via the Lightning Network as well, and these has helped us expand to the media, to the sports teams, to nonprofit conferences and marketers, and integrations with popular e-commerce platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce, Meta, and Ecwid. So today, if you are a Shopify user, a WooCommerce, you can also go on the marketplace and integrate iBets Pay and accept Bitcoin payments for your Shopify store.
That's
So
huge.
we have different, as today we have had different expansions ways. We keep growing. Um, and yeah, we also have an ambassador program, which has been very helpful to for us to build the product, get customer feedback, and being referred by these people. These are amazing people wanting to adopt Bitcoin payments across the world. And they are reaching out to their friends and family saying, hey, you should accept Bitcoin payments. And this is a tool that you can use. And again, those friends and family are going to get on a call with me, and I'm going to get them on board or explain to them how this works.
That's awesome. It's such a valuable resource to have there. And you were mentioning, I mean, every industry uses money, so every industry needs Bitcoin. But one in particular you were saying was like sports. And I saw the story about the Perth Heat. I was wondering if you could uh, tell the audience how you guys work with the Perth Heat there in Australia, the baseball team.
Awesome. Yeah. So IBEX Pay allows sports teams and fans to interact globally by trading value. Um, so basically, you're introducing fan interaction system uh, via the Lightning Network, right? This is how they wanted to use it. They they had two options. You can use IBEX Pay to allow your vendors, your food and beverage to accept Bitcoin payments, or you can use IBEX Pay as an interactive system. So they went on the path of interaction. So basically, what they do is they allow their fans the power to boost their favorite players by sending Bitcoin payments via the Lightning Network.
I think that's a really cool feature as a fan. I mean, yeah, you can cheer, you can tweet at them like, "Oh, that's so awesome," or like if they hit a home run, get excited. But to actually put
Yeah,
some sats and some energy towards them, I think that's a really cool feature.
yeah, it
Uh,
is. And if you check their website, they have a campaign which each player has a QR code, and you can literally go on the website today and send sats to your favorite player. Not necessarily you have to be in the stadium,
I like that, and I know like within the locker room, they're probably giving each other heat too, like saying, "Hey, I got more stats than you today," or I don't know if it was you guys that
right?
did this, or it could have been a different just through. I think it was through Nostr, but at BitBlock Boom, they did that with the panel. So they had like four panel speakers, and they had an option to do lightning transactions or send sats to each person's wallet. And it was like Preston Pish, James Lavish, Natalie Brunell, and Mark Moss. And so they were giving up like the live updates. And were you there for that?
I was not there for that,
Oh, okay.
but
So
this is a nice interactive. Yeah, it's
yeah,
another
and
use case for what can you do.
yeah, it was really cool. And it's fun and it's hilarious because the only person that didn't get any sats was Mark Moss. He was at zero for some reason, so they were giving him a hard time on stage. But just being able to tip people super easily, and it's just another cool feature of the Lightning Network. So thank you guys for making that as easy as ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And Happy is so, I would say this, the Lightning Network allows you to be so creative, and innovate in different ways with Bitcoin. So that's what we're trying to do at iBets as well. It's like once we get on a call with these businesses, trying to understand what they want, and probably we have a functionality that works for them, and we can create a new way of using the Lightning Network to their business. So I love brainstorming ideas with them and coming up with a new way of, oh, we can use the Lightning Network for your business in this way.
That's really cool. I You don't have to not into like any specific companies or anything like that, but uh, what are do you have some common misconceptions when on these calls that people have something commonly wrong about Bitcoin and Lightning?
Um, More that, well, misconceptions. I would say it's more um
Or even like
like
hesitancy, like what they're
no,
hesitant about.
yeah, yeah, of course they're one hesitant about like losing their money, right? That's been a big one. And then two, if Bitcoin goes down and my the value of my money goes down, what would you do in that case, right? And that's, for me, it's more about learning how money works. I think everything goes back to how money works and understanding money. Um, and it goes back to education. So being educated on the technologies that allows you to save your Bitcoin in a way that is not going to be stole or lose. And then when it comes to what if the price of Bitcoin goes down, well, it goes back to education and money. If it goes down, is it time to buy? Like, it's a long-term like vision and opportunity, wealth. It's not instant gratification, but because the and also it's like, do you understand how inflation works? Do you understand how things are every time losing value to in the currency that you have today? So me coming from Venezuela, I can see that like we literally could see every day how our money would lose the value crazy. And
Yeah.
I would never want that for United States or the dollars. And maybe we're very early with the Lightning Network, but it's allowing to come up with innovation that we can prevent big issues to happen as it was in Venezuela. We already have the data. Why do we have to wait? So these misconceptions come from not knowing enough about Bitcoin, not knowing enough about money and how investments works. So I think that is an insight that I got, and I'm starting to create some content for those basic beginner people that need to get some articles, or hey, check out this list of books that talk about money and talk about how to secure your Bitcoin, or these are resources to do this. So we're becoming very productive to add value to those customers that are
Yeah.
has misconceptions, so we can clarify for them.
Yeah. Those educational resources are so key. I just learned, have you heard of Apollo, the heyapollo.com? And it's like the Bitcoin review site. And just things like that, I think, are going to be even more and more important in the future as you get a mass adoption and people, it's not intuitive of like securely holding your own Bitcoin, of what exchanges to use and all this stuff. So there's a lot of education for sure, and I'm glad you guys uh, can make those recommendations with your clients as well. I was wondering, do
Yeah.
you have any thoughts about multi-sig? So multi-sig meaning you have, say, like two or three, you have like three keys for your private keys, and you need two of those to actually withdraw funds. I don't know if
Yes,
you
I
guys like
actually hold
recommend.
my
Yeah.
Bitcoin with a yes, I hold my Bitcoin with multisig. I use on-chain capital, and we introduce our customers to on-chain capital if they want to learn more about multisig and if they want to get started with saving their Bitcoin with that method. So,
That's awesome, because I think that was my biggest concern for Bitcoin. With if you don't have multi-sig and you're holding a large amount of money, it's a single point of failure and it could have drastic consequences. So I think
yep,
that is a great solution that you described. Um,
yeah.
all right, so anything else you wanted to talk about IBEX before? I wanted to get into your on your bio. You said you're into fitness and nutrition, or health and nutrition. So I wanted to hear your thoughts about that as well.
Cool. I think we should just jump in on talking about that.
Yeah. So when did you always, like, growing up? Like, what did you eat? Did you eat a bunch of processed food, or I don't know what the food is in Venezuela?
Everything is organic. There's nothing processed over there. Everything is organic. You can eat as much as you want. You never get fat. Um, I would eat whole foods my whole life. My parents are very healthy. It's just the normal. You get cheese, the orange juice that you eat every day, you go and buy it fresh from the bakery. And that's how it works. Or the orange juices that sells in Venezuela in general, or pressed juice in boxes. Like you don't see any brand over there. Everything is very organic, everything is
Yeah.
very handmade, very local. Um, so food wise, it's like that. When I immigrate to United States, my perspective changed on like how I'm taking care of my health. And I learned about organic food and identifying the labels and the numbers on each fruit and vegetable, and why some of them start with 4 and 3 and 9, and what's the difference. um, but also, not only that, I had to study, and I got certified as a nutritionist health coach from an institute in New York, that gave me all the education to understand how the food supply chain works in United States, and what are the problems that exist today in the country, and the reasons why. And many of them come because of the food, and comes because of the food sources that we get in our hands, easily in our hands, meaning in food stores, in convenience stores, are processed, have pesticides, and are um, have some chemicals on it. So that was like a my blow minded for me. Is like, what do I have to deal with this when I was not dealing with this in my life? But okay, let's see what are the opportunities. And so I decided to keep learning about it. When I joined IBEX, what I like a lot about the Bitcoin industry is I found out that everyone is very health aware. So it was not only me knowing all these problems. I was like, wow, this feels like I'm becoming more involved with the like-minded individuals that I've been wanting to be involved with. So also, Bitcoin took me in the route of learning about regenerative agriculture, but also in my mind and in my heart, I have this passion for like keep learning how to be a healthy individual in this country. So I learned regenerative agriculture. I learned that it is less than 4% of the industry is raise cattle in the right way, the most organic, and use the best practices for to produce the meat that we are supposed to eat. Um, so that's why I have that on my LinkedIn profile, on my LinkedIn and Twitter profiles, because I've had a story where I moved to Texas, live on a ranch, work for a cattle farm, and then study nutrition. And anytime if I have the opportunity to consult someone or help someone to learn about labels and how to buy food in the groceries, or how to keep a mindset of eat whole foods, and just take out the process. Just don't have the tips. The tips are like the best part of it. It's like don't have them in your house. Literally,
Yeah.
don't have any processed food in your house. You won't eat it. You would eat it
It's a drug.
when you're in a party, when you're in a meeting, in meetings with friends, and that's okay to have it 20% of the time. If in your house, try to have as much as whole foods as you can. um so, and then besides that, Bitcoin and beef came together for me at some point. So I started onboarding beef businesses, farmers, ranchers, to accept Bitcoin payments, because for me it was like the perfect idea was good food, good money
Oh yeah.
together. So
Yeah.
we have to, and then if we are health aware enough, we're going to be aware that we want to buy good food and we want to contribute to our circular economy. So why not paying with Bitcoin, right? So it is easier for those that are health aware to even consider paying with Bitcoin to buy the
Yeah,
right foods. So
the the beef initiative, Texas Slim out there, he's like onboarding all these rangers to Bitcoin and helping people get sound money, like you said, with their sound food. Uh, and You're saying I think one reason a lot of Bitcoiners go down that health rabbit hole as well is it kind of is the ethos of don't trust, verify. Like it's not that they're being conspiratorial or anything. They're curious. They have questions. They want to know the first principles of like why this is. And I think that's a great attitude to have in life. Um, and the other thing you said in there, which I what made you decide, hey, I'm gonna go live in a Texas ranch? When did that pop up?
So, yeah, many things. One, I said, this is a one life opportunity. I'm not gonna miss it out. I'm young enough to, I don't have much like to take care of just myself, and I want to do this. But also, it was learning about what the business model, and learning what are the challenges that these businesses face, and understanding what they need and what they want to operate in the way that they want to operate. Like they want to be regenerative, a regenerative farm with regenerative practices. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you different besides the conventional farms? Like, what is the difference? Like, I had all these questions. Like, what is the type of food that you give to your cattle versus the other type of food? Like, why your cattle are going to raise the one way versus the other cattle? What is the soil and the water intake and care that you need to have and versus the other? So many questions. And yeah, I jump off to Lubbock, Texas,
Oh no
live
way.
with farmers. Yes, and that was the most, I would say, radical, conservative, and yeah, experience I ever had in United States.
If
It was
anyone,
nothing else, just farm and ranch, like stores around, like that's it.
and you can smell it too, right? You can smell the cows.
Yeah, everywhere.
Were you there with Holy Cow Beef? Were you at their facility?
Yes, holy cow
Oh
beef.
wow, very cool. Yeah, they're very big name here in Texas. Of if you want to get regenerative, really good, grass fed meat, go up in Lubbock. And my mom's actually from Lubbock, so I've been there quite a bit. And you are not embellishing or anything. There's nothing out there. It's just a big flat dust bowl out there. So props to you. Did you? So what? Other than like you learned a lot. What takeaways did you? Because I mean, right now you're based in Miami, so buildings all around, people everywhere, hustle and bustle. How did that contrast to going away for a couple months?
Um, so my takeaways were that we need to find better ways to connect people to the sources that are producing this type of meat. There's some limitations for these businesses to reach an audience that is outside of their state. So how can we solve for that? Um, I start looking at all the pain points, right? Like if I want to get meat in Miami, how can I? So, oh, you have a chipping that you can get, but probably the meat will get defroze in the meantime, or there's some adjustments that needs to happen in order to increase also adoption and this type of meat for other states that are not just the states that produce this meat. Um, but also education. I think it goes back again. People are not aware of the type of food that they're eating today. So once you're aware, how can you keep buying it,
Yeah,
right? So you are keep buying it, you keep supporting the conventional way of producing meat. And also is like education, understanding that food is a big part of who you are and how you feel. So you should give more value to it. And I think people are always looking to buy the cheapest um, food they can, and that takes them to buy the lowest quality. what makes me sad is that the lowest quality that exists. Why we just don't have the best quality and that's it.
Yeah.
um or what if we it's like overall, I think overall also is like there's a price to pay because it comes from the back, from the chain, right? It's the whole food supply chain that needs to make adjustments in order to adopt a higher quality of beef to the entire country. And education should be part of it, and ways to like have access to it needs to be part of it as well.
It's definitely difficult, but I think it's getting more and more available. I know here in Austin, partly because I'm in the Bitcoin scene, but there's multiple local ranchers that
Yes.
I know for sure uh, raise their cattle properly, and I've tasted the meat they have, and it's significantly better. I don't know if it's mental or what, but you just feel better, and you're supporting Bitcoiners, you're supporting local ranchers, so definitely would recommend that. What would you say?
Yeah.
Uh, last question here of so it sounds like you're definitely not so much of what you eat versus where it comes from and like the quality of food. What would you recommend for someone trying to get on the health train? You know, someone that's never thought of it before. They're just whatever's convenient they'll eat. What advice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or would you have 3 meals a day? Or does it depend?
I do have 3 or 4 meals a day. Um, but this is what it is. We're all about individual and we all have different needs. And we're all gonna like different foods. We're all gonna digest better different foods too. Um, what I would suggest to people is one, as I say, just go and buy the groceries, whole foods. That means vegetable, fruits, protein, and some potatoes and some greens, right? Like just go and have that and take it to your house and start checking what can you cook and do with this food. And it will get, it's like keep it simple. Don't fill out your shopping cart with all these ingredients, all these spices, all these things, all these oils, all these like there's so many things that you can buy.
Yeah.
Start keeping it simple. Lower your budget to buy exactly what you need to eat, which is greens, fruits, vegetables, and protein. Period. And once you're reducing the budget, you're gonna start seeing, oh, food is cheaper, but I'm getting higher quality. That's a good sign. Um, and then, yeah, stay away from processed foods in your house as much as you can. Say no to them. Don't have them in your house, but eat them when you have to eat them. Because restrictions is not okay. But I would invite people to try what it works for them to keep things simple and as nourishing as possible, meaning whole foods. So everything starts with the buying decision that you make. So make a list of the things that you need, go to the supermarket and just buy that and
Yeah.
come back and then
Yeah.
start from there.
And
And
that's
then
difficult
you're gonna
too.
have control of the food. That's what I 80% of the time I do. I always know what I'm gonna buy in the supermarket. I have a list. I don't buy more than that because one, it's my in my budget, and two, I want to buy the highest quality under this budget. So keep it simple. And then I
I
have
think
to come back home and I see these vegetables and like, what can I cook with this? Look at ideas on Google, simple ideas to cook with mushrooms, for
mm.
example, and chicken, right? And then you discover that you can do a whole meal with these two ingredients.
And you don't need to limit
So I
yourself
would
either, right?
say
Because it's fresh food. It's
no.
and you'll fill up.
Eat all the yes, you don't have to limit yourself. I think I eat around fruits a day, 4 different type of fruits a day, like in the morning blueberries, in the evening mango, and in the afternoon another thing, and then the night papaya, and I keep going and eating fruits as the day goes, and I'm like, wow, I ate like 5 fruits, but I'm okay. I still have energy. I can work out. I'm not super full. I, I feel I'm even feeling I'm getting healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the true battle is won at the grocery store, when you can walk past that aisle of Oreos and not throw them in your cart. Because once you're home and you don't have all those temptations, it's a lot easier. And I love how you said keep it simple, because I think a lot of people think cooking's a lot of work, and it is if you're going to make some gourmet meal every night. But to just have some basic, nutritious, delicious food, you don't need much. You don't need all the different spices. Like salt and pepper will do just fine for many things. I like to add a little hot sauce too, but I am definitely simpatico. I don't think I can eat as much fruit as you. I start gaining weight, but I think that's to each person. See how they react to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Each person have different needs and different reactions. That's true.
well, thank you so much, Annalise, for coming on to share your Bitcoin story there. Growing up in Venezuela, I can't imagine um, living under that regime, and then so happy that you found Bitcoin and IBEX, and you're really changing the world there, one company at a time, helping them onboard them to a
Yes.
superior form of money. And I really appreciate it. Any final words for the
Yeah. Thank you
listeners?
so much. Yeah, I would say one, don't be scared. We are actually ahead of um, the bad things can come. I think we're just now we're there's more opportunity than what we think, and don't be scared. I would say for those that are listening, go get on a wallet, buy Bitcoin, and start learning about it. And find out who is accepting Bitcoin payments, and go to them and ask them, can I pay with Bitcoin? And see their reaction, and start understanding where other people's heads at. People are gonna learn. That's the best way to learn, by doing. Um, then you can, if you are a business or listening, you can find ibetspay.io, and you're going to have my email. You can book a call with me. You can learn more about how can you accept Bitcoin payments for your business. And overall, I guess we're going to share my Twitter and LinkedIn space if you want to keep learning about Bitcoin, Lightning Network, money, health, nutrition. We can happy to have open discussions like this as well.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, check out the show notes. I'll have Annalise's Twitter, LinkedIn, and then also that IBEX Pay. She's also on NOSTR, so you guys, if you don't know what NOSTR is, go Google that after this. But thank you so much. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Mike White Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Mike White Pod, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Y'all have a great day.